Welcome, YouTube people. We are here with That's Game Stuff. It's our monthly podcast about all things of gaming. This time, we're going to review one of the big hits this year. A lot of people are talking about it. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Respawn's sequel to Fallen Order, which I always want to call Fallen Kingdom. For some reason, these games titles never stick in my head.
Yeah, they're not memorable.
No, it's what are you doing, guy? So before we get into Star Wars, Jared has a question for us. Go ahead, Jared.
Me? Okay, so I should probably say this question for later or when everyone's here, but what are some of your favorite, what video game soundtracks or songs get stuck in your head the most? Like what do you always like what songs do you always think about? Because I was listening to Sandopolis from Sonic and Knuckles. That one always gets stuck in my head, Act 1. Rainbow Road from the Super NES. Mario Kart, that one always gets stuck in my head. And then just like Halo's always in there somewhere. The
When you're driving a ATV around or something.
Yeah.
What do you call it? The main menu music when you're.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Thomas?
No, it's that.
Oh.
So the video game earworms is what you want to know?
Yeah.
Earworms?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
What are just some that always pop into your head, like even when you're not playing games or just randomly?
So the Journey soundtrack is probably my favorite video game soundtrack. Sorry, is probably my favorite video game soundtrack. I even have that on vinyl because it's one of my favorite. Just period, I guess. Maybe the Persona 5 soundtrack is also really good, especially on a rainy day and I'm trying to study. It's pretty.
When you feel like a Japanese schoolboy, you just want to go adventure.
Yeah.
Latchkey kid.
Maybe that or Mass Effect 3 has a really good soundtrack.
That's a soundtrack I don't even know. Like
I like
besides that font song from the credits of the first one, I couldn't hum any Mass Effect music.
The Leaving Earth one is really good. And then I guess Kingdom Hearts. I mean, Simple and Clean, My Sanctuary.
The main score of that game, the orchestral version, just like that song gets me emotional. I don't know why. I don't even care about this series that much, but when that comes on, I'm like,
it's so good, especially when you and I like but in like orchestral like part. It's like, my God, that's like makes you feel like you're 12 years old again.
For some reason, I want to cry every time. I don't know why.
Don't cry, Jared.
And then even like the Skrillex one was pretty good. It was catchy. So,
for me, it's all like old stuff, like Jared was saying, like Sonic. For some reason, the first Sonic gets stuck in my head a lot, even though that's probably the one I played the least amount of times.
The worst Sonic out of those classic ones.
How dare you?
Shots fired.
Have you ever finished the first one? It's maddening. There's like 3 levels to each world, and
it's hard. Mario, first level, Mario. I hum that a lot. Kirby's like main theme.
You know what Kirby song gets stuck in my head? When you beat Meta Knight's Revenge.
No, that one's not that memorable.
And he's on the little motorcycle, and he's just driving into the sunset. That's the most memorable song ever.
The only like newer stuff is like you said, Mass Effect's the in theme. Just because I listen to that song all the time, like away from Mass Effect, not. I just listen to that album all the time, so that one always sticks in my head. But yeah, classic video games always get kind of stuck in my head.
Before we hear from Michael, after this, if you guys can give me a fast top 5 soundtracks.
That's hard, man.
That's hard. So that was my question. Are we talking songs get stuck in our head or
My
game
original
music that we
question
love.
was just songs that always pop into your head from video games. And
I got a top 5 soundtracks. So,
That's like a different topic though that we want. Ones that get stuck in our heads.
well,
or
we're
just-
not going to come back to this.
Yeah,
that's true.
We could.
it could happen. Well, I'm gonna do both. So the one that gets stuck in my head the most is the Donkey Kong Country soundtrack, because I've played that game 100 million times. Just do 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 do.
What about the water
do,
level, Michael?
do, do, and it just goes over and over and over. It's very good music too. So I don't really complain when it's in my head. Stop fighting, please. If you guys can hear him, let me know. But this albums that I love, of course, the Halo theme is like one of the most iconic, incredible musics ever. Zelda's always great, and this new Zelda's music is incredible. And then they have a thing where when Link cooks in this new one, and he like hums old Zelda tunes, he's like,
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
he just like
nice.
sits there like I was like, what is he? Is he humming tunes? And it changes like every time. I was like, what the heck? But yeah, Zelda music's incredible. Last of Us, of course, is just iconic at this point with the show and the games. Like, it's the same dude did both soundtracks and the TV show. Did such a good job. Very different music for video games as well. I mean, I know it's like a more serious thing, but and then another one that's big that has great music is Assassin's Creed. They always have incredible music, like Ezio and everything. Like the themes in that game are so freaking good. Alex had the soundtrack in his truck for ages. In terms of classic other ones, Mario, of course, you guys already brought up. Oh goodness.
The Dark World from Zelda. That's one that always gets stuck.
Yeah.
stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty more that just aren't coming to mind. Mass Effect, like you guys said, is so good. But yeah, and then of course, all From Software is like just epic chorus-driven, like horror music almost. Those are all always so good. But yeah, the ones that get stuck in my head is Donkey Kong. Always.
Thomas, give us your top 5 real fast.
Journey, Persona 5, Mass Effect 3, Halo 3, and I'm not sure where to put 5. It's either The Last of Us 1. Yeah, I'll say The Last of Us. Though, even though I have mixed feelings about like the game as a whole, that first soundtrack is pretty great.
Well, Michael, can you do a 5 real fast?
Oh dear Lord. Not in any particular order.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely Persona's in there. Last of Us is in there. Zelda's definitely in there, so that's 3. Donkey Kong has to go in there. I love the Donkey Kong Country soundtrack. It's so good. Especially 2 has some bangers in it. And then 5th will round out Halo. But I just have to mention another music that is, I feel, underrated is Minecraft. Minecraft music is so like iconic, and it just has this tone to it. You're like, yes, that's Minecraft.
I don't even
I have that
remember
Minecraft feel, man.
music.
Minecraft music has a feel to it. It's so good.
I guess I'll go. I'm not gonna order them too because I can't right now. Sonic 2. That whatever, I can't remember which Smash it was, but we had the CD for one of the Smashes, and that was a great one. Kirby Superstar. That one's good. 2 more. Halo. Halo 3. I'm gonna say. And I can't think of a 5th. I don't know, Jared. I'll just say Mario Kart, just because I can't think of one real quick. Jared, did you want to do 5?
Yeah. Real fast, the song that I forgot was that always sticks in my head is the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 character select. The I'm gonna take you for a ride song.
Oh, jeez.
Whoa.
The top 5, Animal Crossing,
That's a good one.
Ocarina, Kirby Superstar, Sonic and Knuckles plus Sonic 3, and probably Persona 4.
Okay, I thought of my 5th. Shovel Knight.
I thought of
Shovel
that.
Knight soundtrack.
That popped in my head for a second.
I remember when you like bought that. He's like, I bought the soundtrack.
I know, that was amazing. I played that constantly. But all right, we're gonna talk Star Wars. You want to say goodbye, Jared?
See ya.
We'll see you next time.
You didn't even say goodbye.
Bye.
We'll see you next time. Jared's gonna dip out because he hasn't played it and he doesn't want to hear any more spoilers.
We never spoiled anything, by the way.
Not one thing was spoiled.
Not
in our
one
chat.
thing was spoiled.
I guess cosmetics can be spoiled now. I guess
They're like, at least all of mine were like the first cosmetics you get.
Well, and like for me, it was like the sword stances, but I mean, we all
that's
kind of
not
knew.
big, yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't we start with the music since we were talking about music earlier? I really dig the music in this one.
It was
I
really
think
good.
it's really cool. Like it's like an 80s kind of throwback to what you would like hear for old fantasy stuff. And I just think it's really cool. What do you guys think of the music?
Yeah.
I really like the first one a lot, the music and stuff. Also, the original song from the Who, HU. Um, I'm a big fan of those guys because my mother introduced that to me and my younger brother, and we introduced that to her. She's like, "Oh my God, they're huge now." We're like, "Yeah, we know." And you can hear one of their songs playing in the cantina.
Yeah,
That was pretty cool.
I like that.
I liked buying the little songs and like going in there and put a new record on and going to talk to people. So
Yeah, that's cool. I like that games are calling back to their old songs in game now. Like Michael said with Zelda, he's humming
Yeah.
Zelda tunes.
That's so weird.
Michael, any opinions on the soundtrack?
Just adding what you guys said is how good it is, and they do such a good job playing. Like it sounds so Star Wars, but there's so many new things to it. You're like, this
Mhm.
sounds like this could easily be in the original movies, like
Yeah.
easily. And they do so well playing with the tunes and the tones and themes of Star Wars, and just kind of like melding it into. They do such a great job. It's very very good.
so Jared just texted. He's like, I forgot an important song, the Onion Guys song in Parappa the Rappa.
Never played that game.
Classic.
It's
Classic.
it's
Um,
funny. It's not really like amazing, but it's a fun game.
One of the standouts I think in this game was when you're in the chambers where you're doing.
Yeah,
They're all called chambers. The music in there is really good. I
Yeah.
like that.
Kind of creepy.
Yeah, it's like it swells up all of a sudden.
otherworldly.
Well, it's like the dead are speaking or something like that because
It's like the
Yup.
game knows you're about to accomplish it, and then when you don't, it gets all sad and goes
Yeah.
away from.
gotta go
Okay.
back to the end.
So
Or
we talked
beginning.
about the music, so let's get into the actual game itself. What did you guys think about the first one compared to this one? I like the first one. I didn't spend a whole lot of time on it. What improvements do you guys think overall was made from 1 and 2?
Everything.
I was about to say like overall, like
I mean,
overall.
yeah, like when you go from so I platinum both games. I've done everything necessary to do, so you pretty much 100%. I didn't 100% like Johnny did, but in the first one and in this one, I platinum both of them. And starting this game up, I completely forgot half the characters. Like I was like, "Oh right, you were in the first game. I remember you." Just kind of
Me
come back
too.
to me
I
for a
forgot
minute.
the characters too.
But like after this game, what they did with the characters, I'm like, I'm not gonna forget you guys. Like they built so much on the character. Grease, I feel like had so much more of a presence in this. I'm like, I remembered him with the first one, I enjoyed him, but in this one, I feel like he had
Yeah.
so much more weight and emotion to what he wanted and kind of his arc and going back out there on the ship and everything and helping them out and like, their difficulties they faced with that were so good. The teleporty chick, I forget her name. Terrible with names.
Marin.
Yeah, Marin, she was. I really just liked her character in this game. When she was around, I'm like, yes, this is cool and interesting, and how they're dealing with it. Bode, I actually really liked as a character with the very surprising arcs he takes. We will spoil everything in this if we didn't mention.
Jetpack Man.
Jetpack Man. I can't figure out what the voice actor is from.
I know he sounds
It's
familiar.
killing me. I'm like, you are a character that I know, and I cannot. I still haven't looked it up. Anyway, but yeah, for me, the characters were. I mean, everything was extremely improved upon, including the combat. It feels so good in this game.
Combat's so good.
But I'll leave my point at the characters. Let you guys continue on.
Go ahead, Thomas.
So like Michael's saying, like overall everything is improved. The customization's better, the fighting's better, and strangely enough, and this is going to come from me, the platforming is way better
It really is.
than the first one. Now I will caveat that with those stupid force tiers that the platforming
is it tear or
tier?
tier?
I don't know.
I've heard
It's spelled
I've heard people say that both things. I'm like, I think it's tear.
Tear, yeah.
It's like a tear in space, but
both and either or.
I
I
have
mean,
no
Because
idea.
he's like he talks like he wants to repair the tear.
True,
Yeah.
true. But maybe he's repairing the pain of the tear.
the tears, yeah.
I don't know.
But I will say that the platforming in those, the challenges, I have. I mean, okay, I got frustrated with some of the combat, not the combat, just like the difficulty of like some of the bosses.
Yeah.
A couple in
But
particular.
my God, I have never been more frustrated than those platforming challenges, especially the one where you have to like teleport through the barrier every single
Yeah.
time to go through, and if you mess up, you have to go all the way back. And I think I spent almost an hour on that one.
Yeah, that's frustrating. Is that you have to like if you fail it, you go out back to the real world and you gotta like load it all up
That was a little silly.
again. That's
But
kind of
But yeah,
Yeah.
like just overall, everything has been improved. And I mean, the first one looks good. This one looked amazing.
yeah,
And
there's some great set pieces.
so I went back to it because I platinumed it last week, Tuesday I think is when I platinumed it, and then they put out a patch for PS5. I don't know if it was on
Mhm.
everything else, but they put it out at the end of this week, and I watched Alex play some of it, and I was like, oh my gosh, after that patch, it looks so much better. Even after
first one
I
or
thought
the
it
new
looked-
one?
The new one
This one,
Okay.
it was a patch.
Yeah, it needed one because when it was on
Stability's been a big issue, but
Kobo, the Sky Palace thing or whatever, like that was my PS5 was like, hey, getting a little tired here, man. Like, can we can we take a break? Because like everything was like de-resing, like it looked horrible at one point. Like was his name Bode or whatever was just a block when he was talking to me. I was like, okay, I might need to restart the PS5 and let it just like cool down for a minute because there's a lot going on in this level. So
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's a cool level.
I was gonna say
That
I
is a
definitely
cool
found
level.
out, or I found because I know that that's a big issue. So if we don't bring it up, I feel like it'd be weird. Is the stability? A lot of people like have kind of refused to play it until they fix it, which I feel like it's in a pretty good place now. But they're like, I don't want to play this, and I've heard some people have much worse time. PC
Yeah,
apparently is just
PC.
PC
unplayable.
particularly, but PC always has like issues. Like
They've
every
had
time,
a lot of it. They've had a bad year for games.
yeah. Well, like every time, like PC isn't having. I mean, like, and like they have everything else. They can have performance issues on one thing. So there you go.
Well, I mean, it shouldn't, but
Yeah, but for a launch type, but for launching like just straight out of the box, it still looks pretty great. And I've
Yeah,
seen a
I
lot of
didn't-
games that are way worse.
I didn't notice. I started like a day later than you guys.
How dare you?
And then I remember I was doing some stuff, so I didn't go through the story that fast. So I didn't notice anything. And then that patch happened. I remember the patch happening. So I really didn't notice much in the graphics. I mean, there's some glitches. There's definitely glitches where like the world wouldn't render, and then I would jump and like just fall into the world and die. So that did happen, but it doesn't really. It's not game breaking. It didn't really bother me.
There were some times when I was just like, "Is that where I'm supposed to go?" And I would just like jump, and I would just keep sliding. I'm like, "Nope,
Yeah.
that was not the spot I was supposed to go at."
Yeah.
So for me, I think the gameplay from this one is not actually too much different from the last one. It's just I think they did a way better job with the worlds. I know Michael's big complaint on the last one is it just felt too linear, and it just too platformy. And I think this one, especially Kobo, I love as just a hub world because there's just so much.
Huge.
Yeah, it's huge and there's so much to explore. And I think that was really missing from the last one. There wasn't really a good hub world on that one. And then the set pieces are great on this one.
Dude,
think-
Jedi. Oh my god.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But and they get the side planets get a little more linear. I'm thinking especially of that Shattered Moon one. It definitely feels like it's a linear path.
I really like those though, like the
and they
tone of it.
Yeah, they really hide it with how like cool the design is, and just like how spectacular the graphics are for those.
Dude, they nailed the aesthetic of the High Republic too. It looks so good.
Coruscant
Yeah.
is amazing.
Well,
Yeah.
and just like some of those like old, not even just the Jedi temples, but like the Shattered Moon or whatever. That's supposed to be like a Jedi like facility. it looks great. Like it looks like a piece of the High Republic, and I love seeing the details for that.
Yeah, so we'll get. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I was super impressed with just when I started up the game, I was like, just the detail in Coruscant in the distance.
Yeah.
Like it was so full in the background. I was like, oh my goodness, this is way more than I expected. And I think
we talked a little bit about it before. The opening levels to these games are
Yeah.
great. Like even the first one, when you're like climbing around that Star Destroyer, and then the Coruscant one's really cool on this one. Let's get into the story a little bit, because the story is definitely an improvement on the first one. I would say it's not great. It's very like predictable, the twist. I would say me and Thomas like called it right away when we first started playing that first
I
day.
called one part of the twist. I didn't see the other part of the
Yeah,
twist.
that's
happen.
true. The other part
my
is
my
even
jaw
better.
literally like
I-
dropped. I was like, huh?
Yeah, leading up to that, I was like, okay, so he's either, well, I mean, not leading up to that, because obviously you knew that was coming, his betrayal, whenever you hit that certain point.
I
You're
think
like, oh,
everybody did, yeah.
But early in the
But-
game, I thought he was just going to die. I was like, oh, this dude's going to
Yeah.
die. And I honestly thought we were going to get his jetpack when he died, so I'm kind of sad that didn't happen.
Give me that jetpack.
I was like, I want a jet.
Well-
they're giving me a blaster. Do I get to be a freaking bounty hunter? Come on, please.
What is funny though is I compared this to Final Fantasy VII, and basically like your entire team is wiped out, and then you have to restart, including like the chick that you really like. Oh man, I could see having a friendship and a real dead. Well, okay.
And that actor doesn't have a Wikipedia page, so I don't know who he played.
Goodness.
So what do you guys think of the story overall?
Go ahead, Thomas.
Oh.
Me or you? Go ahead.
Go for it. Go for it. Go.
Oh, now we're gonna fight it right. Fine, I'll take it. I mean, same with the first one. That like, I feel like this one has a much better pacing, and I think that plays in with what we were talking about, the world designs, because, like we said, I complained in the first one. I think the level design is pretty bad in the first one, and it's very, it's like a Tony Hawk's downhill jam. Like you're just going down a path, and then you're stuck at the bottom. And they didn't have fast travel back in the first one. It's like this just.
Oh my god, I
It's
forgot
just like,
about
it's
that.
so frustrating. So you just go back to the beginning,
Mhm.
and if you miss something, you go back down, because the platinum you do that. And this one, it was a great change of like Kobo's huge. You're like, oh, this is overwhelming. Then you go to like Shattered Moon River is really small, and you're like, okay, I get the pacing is so throwing me back and forth between I feel overwhelmed, and I feel like okay, can manage this, and then I feel like they did a great job. Same with the story, and I feel like it took a little while to build up. Like in the beginning, I was like, oh, we got the stinking freaking inspectors. What are they called? What are the
Inquisitors.
Inquisitors? There you go. Not
Inspectors.
inspectors. Inspector Gadget's running around
Inspector
here after
Gadget
us.
over there. She did have a fake hand, so
And I was pretty happy they ditched that for a while, and then they do the cool thing of having two villains in this that I really appreciate, because like you meet the quote unquote main villain, and like he's cool as heck in my opinion. Like I love his story of being this like old Jedi that's been encased for ages, and he comes out and he has like his weird like force arm that he uses where he's like throwing his other lightsaber with his shoulder around, and you're like, what the heck? But they do that thing to where you have this epic battle, and I was like what's so I should have said this at the top for like my opinions of this game is like this is the first game in ages that I could not put down. Like, and I don't know why. Like I liked the first one, wasn't really looking forward to this one. Was like I probably will buy it, and then it got a bunch of reviews. I was like, okay, sure, I'll play it, or got a bunch of great reviews, I should say. So going into this, I expected, I'll play a little bit wherever here and there, and it was literally like midnight every night. And I'm like, crap, I need to go to bed. I need to get up early tomorrow.
And then you find a force
Every
tier,
day, and then I'm like,
Oh, I know.
gosh dang it.
Force tier, yeah.
So it was like this game. It still has hooked me. So at the point where you defeat what the heck his name was, One Arm Boy, I was like, please don't be over, please don't be over, please don't be over. And then of course, you see Bode getting acting all weird. You're like, yes, it's not over, but you see what's coming. So like even both endings, I was like, man, I don't want this to be over. And I was so excited about that. But yeah, leading into the arc with Bode, I loved how they built that up. I felt they did a great job of like you understanding him and where he's going, except for the weird like, hey, you're still gonna be safe. But like he wanted to ensure they were safe. That was a weird like.
It was a little weird.
It's like,
yeah.
well, we're still safe. It's fine.
I was okay with like the betrayal. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like I do get it. Until he like shot what's his face? Master
The Jedi. That was a little more brutal than it needed to be.
yeah, I
like,
was
you
just
didn't
like,
need to kill him. You just
you
leave.
didn't need to kill him. Yeah.
That's a little
especially
out of character.
Especially with who also shows up later on to kill everybody. So
Yeah, that was
Yeah, let's save that one
Yeah.
for a little bit.
But
'cause we'll talk bosses and we'll talk
I
about
very much enjoyed the story. I feel like it ended on one of my favorite parts about this story struggle is Cal. Like his arc through this game is so
that. Yeah.
I love how they put him through the temptation of the dark side. They do such a
Mhm.
good job, and then at that last boss fight, it's like embrace the dark side, and I didn't click anything. I was like,
I did
I'm not gonna-
too.
and
Yeah,
it
I
kills
died.
you, and it makes you restart. I was like, okay,
What?
they should have
I
they should have
did
held
it.
they should have held it forever and made you click it because it kind of ruined the pacing for that. But I loved how they did because I was like, I don't want to be that guy. So it kind of makes you question that for a moment where it hits the end. And it was a little bit of a goofy scene in my opinion, but that ending where it does, I feel like the only goofy bit about it was the people around him moving fast, but that
Oh, yeah, that
time
was-
lapse
Yeah,
of him
that
standing
didn't
there.
fit. Yeah.
They
I
should
was
have
like, is my game broken?
yeah, I thought she was like AI walking around into things because it looks like she's running into it for a minute, but they should. I feel like they could. But the actual like the main point of the scene, I really liked how he's just like zoned out for that long of time. It's just like that kind of it just shows the weight of it with it passing and everything. I don't know, and then it goes where everything's ash in front of him. I loved that scene so much. Very strong ending. But yeah, just lends stuff to the. I feel like the story lent to the characters and characters lent to stories so well in this. Very very good. I loved it.
So with Bo, the only reason we said it was predictable in that first level is because like he's always has like an excuse to like leave. Like when they're in the starfighters, he's like, "Oh, I'll draw them off. I'm going over here," and you're like, "Oh, I see what's going on."
My brain just went to, oh, they want me to play this part by myself to learn how to play the game. That's where my brain went. I didn't even think about betrayal because you guys said that. I was like, huh, maybe.
I don't know. It was like all the classic markers, like, oh, friend I can trust now. Friend that has a dark past. Friend is now betraying me. Oh God. So
Friend with BB.
So this, I really like the blending this story does of the High Republic, the Clone Wars. There's a lot of Clone Wars stuff in it, and then like this new era we're in. Because man, they used a bunch of droids. It's kind of cool. They droid army these Raider guys. There's a couple stuff that didn't make sense to me, like the bad guy. I really thought I liked his design. Like you said, he was really cool. That one arm thing, and it's kind of purplish, I guess. But he's like been suspended for like I think the High Republic takes place 1,000 years. Well, it's in Yoda's time because Yoda was around, so it's like 800 years or something like that.
so
that guy's been frozen, but the like his little pinchman guy has been around like the whole time, just waiting
I don't
for
know
him.
what that dude was. He's like,
well
some
that
regenerating
guy's
lunatic.
that guy's the same. Do you remember the Tarkovsky Star Wars? The
Oh
shorts?
yeah, the Dirge guy.
Yeah, Dirge. It's the same species.
Yeah.
So those guys live for like thousands of years, and but there's only like a handful of them in the galaxy that we know of. They're like they come from the unknown regions, which is a whole other thing. But there's even like a journal entry on that. So
it makes sense, but also it just seems like it like I don't know. He had all this time to build up a droid army. You think they would have got on this a lot sooner than making him wait? And
he just stays on Kobo.
Does Bacta not have like an expiration date? Does it just? Can you just keep Bacta in there?
That's the first time I've heard of that. I thought it was going to be carbonite or something.
Yeah, that was weird. That was just he's just in a Bacta tank, just sleeping, I guess. So that was good. The main build, the turn is pretty good. The thing you guys were talking about, like the second reveal that shocked everyone, is that Bloat is actually a former Jedi, like Cal. But he, instead of letting like the Empire just kill him, he kind of snuck his way into the Empire for survival. Because he's got this daughter. Well, I guess the daughter came a little later because Jedi weren't allowed to marry. But I guess during his survival period, he got married and had a daughter. So his whole focus is keeping this girl alive. And it kind of makes him crazy because that end scene is a little nuts because they're like, hey, man, we can just all live happily and be a happy family. And he's like,
No!
no, I don't understand that. I just like, why doesn't he believe that they can all be safe together? Why can it only be him being safe? And that's that poor girl would be there all alone. She'd be bored out of her mind.
I think part of it is that he's seen that everybody else has like broken or something like that. Like, because he's been working for the Empire and he's been seeing them like hunt down Jedi, and eventually everybody breaks under Darth Vader. But I will say that the second reveal though, the part where he force pushes you, like my jaw was on the floor. I was like, okay, what just happened? And the fact that he's been cloaking his force abilities too, like he's been hiding, because even like Cal's like, how did we not notice this? Like we should have sensed him or something. But I don't know. I again, I understand Bode where he's coming from. But some of the decisions I'm just like, that seems a little much, but okay. But overall, like I thought the story was amazing. Like especially with I think my favorite arc to come to full completion was Seer's arc.
Yeah.
Just because like in the first one she's pretty much like where Bode's at almost, but then she has the reconnection with the Force and she realizes that, you know, she still has the ability to do some good in the galaxy, and that's what her whole purpose was in this game. And she's not even on the front line, she's just trying to organize everything. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. Let's go to gameplay real fast. I played it on Jedi Master. What'd you guys do?
Just did
Just
whatever
Knight.
default was. Yeah.
Night.
Jedi Knight. Okay. So Jedi Master pretty hard. And there's another level. There's Grandmaster after that. So I can't even. What do you guys think of the combat? The combat I thought was real fun. Just because it lets you have like a variety of ways. I'm a big cheater when it comes to games like this, so like I'll exploit doorways and stuff. And I was just doing this one where there's a Rancor, and
Were you
he
just
would
shooting
stop. He would stop at the doorway. So you know those round guys that like explode when you throw them at stuff. So I'd pick up this one because there was only one. I'd pick up one. I'd walk to the Rancor, throw it at him. Then I'd walk back, pick up another bomb, and then go and throw it at him. And that it took a while, 20 minutes or something, to kill this Rancor. But yeah, that I like games that let me be tricky like that. So what do you guys have opinions on the gameplay?
What were your two stances?
Single and pistol.
Michael?
I went so strange enough, I didn't find any of them apart. Like I found the single bladed to be extremely satisfying. Like,
Yeah.
it felt very like they just because like in the first one I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the combat, but I felt like a lot of it was like it needed a lot of tweaking the first time. There's timing that was off, a lot of windows. It's like okay, so they're the two enemies that can kill you in one hit. There's the Rancor with their bite grab bite, and then there's the weird tongue things that grab you. That was like a lot of enemies in the first game. There were a lot of them that just had like weird windows that are hard to dodge. Like those two attacks in this game were a lot of the combat in the first one.
The tongue ones? What's that one?
The frogs?
The weird frog things that
Yeah.
they were from the first game. In this game, you find them. There's like a door that drops down, and that's one of them was a tear. There were two of them you fought in a tear, and they grab you with their tongue, and tongue is basically impossible to dodge because the window is terrible, or the auto tracking is so bad on it. I don't know if you came across
On the
that.
first one, they were in that green planet.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. I haven't encountered those ones
It's
yet.
like
though.
Dantooine.
There's only like 2 encounters in this game with them.
Okay, because I fought like Sarah from Land Before Time a few times.
Yeah. She's
but-
pretty easy.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy. He's just a cartoon character. It's fine.
Well, once you've leveled up enough, like a lot of the hard enemies are not that hard anymore. Especially since like, sorry, Mike. What's your other stance besides single?
So I went. The single one is one that like I couldn't get away from really, and then the rest I didn't really find. So I bounced between them. Is what I'm trying to say. So crossguard I used for like a lot of just single one-on-one duels. I liked it in like kind of like that slow, methodical kind of like the big hammer dudes. I like doing crossguard with them. The dual blade I really only use, or like the extended blade, not the 2 blades, but the
Oh.
dual.
Oh, double blade.
Yeah, double blade. I use that just for like mass quantities, like those tears whenever the machines keep just dropping,
Yeah, mass enemies.
keep
yeah.
dropping droids. I just use those spin around. I didn't use the pistol and the blade until post game because there's a trophy you have to get for doing one of the abilities. I like that more than I thought it would.
Yeah,
I
comes
liked
in
the kind
handy.
of like rapier stance fighting, where like fencing
Yeah.
fighting was interesting. And then I didn't really like the 2 saber.
Yeah, I
It was-
usually love.
It was weird.
sabers.
Like I wanted it to be more fluid. It was very like gink, gink,
Yeah.
and then you upgrade and you could do more fluid moves with it, but I just didn't find that off the base of it. I was like, you're not hitting me. But the single blade, man, it feels so
Yeah,
good in this
single
game.
blade's good.
It feels amazing in this game.
So my 2 is crossguard is probably my favorite stance like ever, mostly because the look of the crossguard.
It looks cool.
I mean, okay, whatever problems you have with the sequel trilogy, I get, but Kylo Ren's blade that's one of the coolest designs I've ever seen, and the fact that you get one and you can modify it to where it looks just so awesome. I just love that crossguard, and I also love that it does the most damage. I like the precise timing of it, especially with the dual stuff, like the bosses or whatever. It's really helpful on bosses. And weirdly enough, the dual blades are my other one that I love.
Really?
Because they have one of the best saber throws in like your repertoire, because you can upgrade it to where you can throw both. They go through them and they come back, so you get 4 hits on saber throws if you upgrade it. And it's also, I think, the fastest one besides maybe the pistol
I think
one.
it is the fastest.
But the thing is with the pistol, it doesn't do a lot of damage, and so I was kind of
It's good when you get the stun attachment, so you can stun people.
well. I used it a lot on the force tears when I had the multiple enemies, because I had the ricochet shot, and I could take, especially with the B1 battle droids. Those things are weak as all get out, and you could take out like 5 with one shot. So it was kind of cool. But
I usually love dual bladed ones, but this time I didn't. Like Michael said, there's just something weird about it. Double bladed, I'm not a big fan. I've never been a big fan of the double blade.
the double blade or dual blade?
The double, the
There's
mall.
And there's
Yeah, the dual is the dual, and this is double.
okay, the double.
Yeah,
The double's the only one I haven't upgraded completely. I've done all the other ones except for that one. It just didn't really hit.
It didn't feel like
Yeah.
it connected in this game, which
No.
is weird. Because like the single blade, I love it because you feel like it's connecting with everything. You feel like there's a reaction to every move you're making with the single blade. And the
There's definitely-
double bladed or the double bladed just felt like it was kind of like going through them and hitting health bars.
Yeah. You can definitely tell the amount of time they put into what stance is what. I'm sorry, I love the crossguard one. That's the one, the most satisfying.
it's cool and it has cool attacks. It's just way too slow for me, especially like on Jedi Master. It feels like you don't have time to do nothing.
See, I haven't played that one yet.
It just feels like you don't have time to heal, like even heal. Like I'm trying to heal and they're just smacking.
Especially
me
when there's a
the whole
lot of people. It's just like, ugh.
Well, I beat the first one on Jedi Master, and that was rough. And I can't
Yeah.
imagine doing on this one yet. Like,
and the force push like seems to take forever. Because like when the stupid B2, the super battle droids, whenever they
those
shoot
guys
a
are
rocket,
hard.
Yeah, those guys are. Johnny's really good at like. I was watching. He was over playing it, and like anytime their rocket count, he was immediately hitting it back at him. Like he didn't miss once. I was like, how did you do that? I
Those
was always getting hit.
Those always seem to get me,
Yeah.
especially when like I would have like one of those and the not the brood, but you know what I mean, the raiders or whatever.
Mhm.
I'd have one of those like charge at me. I'm like, oh yeah, you, and then the rocket would just be like,
Yeah,
oh
it's
crap.
Yeah, because Cal just like and then
Yeah.
goes instead of just like flicking it.
I do love when they throw grenades at me. I'm just like, no.
Yeah. All right, lift one up
Um,
and then throw it back down at him.
Speaking of that, connecting the Rancors. They're huge, and it feels like it's hard to hit them. I'm always like,
Those are
it is like
one
goes
of the
through their
hardest
arms.
enemies I
Yeah.
think on there. The only one that gave me more difficulty I think than the Rancors was the forest wampas, and
Oh, the
mostly
Wampas
because
are tough.
mostly
They're
because it just
fast.
it surprised me how
They are
fast they
fast.
were. I was like, all right, it's just like a Rancor, we got this, and he's like freaking hulking me like Loki into the ground. I'm like, well, whoops.
I always appreciate when you can like brainwash enemies. So I do that all the time with the forced persuasion. I had a room with a bunch of guys, and just this probe droid in this sentry droid just took them all out for me. Just those two guys just took it. It was at the control room where you're gonna align the arrays.
Oh yeah.
So it was in that room where there's like a ton of guys in there. So I just brainwashed the sentry droid and this probe droid and took everyone out. It was super fun. I love that. So let's get into the bosses. I think the first real boss is Ravis. If I'm forgetting one, I mean, there's the Inquisitor, but that just feels kind of
Yes.
like a.
I actually really didn't like that boss fight with the Inquisitor at all. Or at least
Really?
the second phase where she starts doing her mind thing and you're just kind of like limited in when and what you can do because she just auto dodges. I was like, this
Yeah.
isn't fun.
It's not. Yeah, it wasn't a fun fight. It was cool that she was like that was the only link to the Inquisitors, which you like spent the whole time in the last game.
Yeah.
So it was cool. It was a cool callback. But I think the real first one is Ravis. This one, I think all the flaws of this game come through the boss fights. For me personally, I guess.
Interesting.
And Ravis was like the first one where I was like, this this is like Dark Souls or something, because you got to remember their moves, and then their moves change once you get them down to a certain half.
Well, and especially the first time you fight him is when you're already kind of low on health and you're going up there. And at least that was for me anyway. It was like a progression thing where like I didn't have hardly any health left. I had one stim left. I was like, and now I'm a boss fight. I'm like, great, crap. And then I got immediately murked. I'm like,
Yeah.
crap, we gotta go all the way back. So
what'd you think of Ravis, Mike?
I remember you put in the chat that you're not a fan of him.
No, this isn't the one.
Oh, okay.
I'll
I
tell
thought-
you.
you put an R in there. Anyway, I actually I liked his character a lot, of like his weird kind of just that misguided loyalty. I find very interesting. Like he's like, no, this is like the code, and I don't break from it until I'm free. It's like a weird like slave kind of thing almost. It's super strange.
it's like what do you call it? The Wookiee life debt. It's like a twisted version of that.
Yeah.
But I liked his character a lot. I found it very interesting. Reminded me of the muscle guy from My Hero, because I was watching season 6 not too long ago, and that guy that like builds the weird tentacle muscles all over his body. It's what I thought of it. It also reminds me of the bad guy brain thing on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Don't know why. The thing that goes in the machines. Yeah. I don't know why he reminds me of him. But that's like him in 5,000 years if he didn't die. But I guess that's probably why I liked the boss fight, was because it is very Dark Soulsy and you like learn the moves and progress and get better each time. So I love the boss fights in this game. And I felt like his was a good can't think of the word to contrast to like the other ones. Instead of like all lightsabers or whatever, is like this weird bounty. It was like the boss bounty hunter basically. But yeah, I liked his character. Like the voice acting was really cool with him. I love the voice of him.
It's Bloom, isn't it? Stephen from Cowboy Bebop. I thought it was him. Does a lot of Wolverine voice acting.
Nice.
It should have taught me that this game is going to be really cheap, because there's really cheap moments in the boss fights.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that more. But let's talk about kind of the main villain. What is his name? Dakin or something like that?
I always want to call him Dark and Raw from
Seeker?
Sword of Truth. Yeah, it's like it's just Dark and Raw.
Something with the D.
Was
for
he
some reason?
was he an Arcanian, by the way?
I don't know, Star Wars species.
Yeah, I'm trying to find him somewhere.
But yeah,
go ahead and talk about him.
There's something about I loved his boss fight, but like just that kind of amplifies, like I said earlier, with his force arm. Because I was like, oh, this could be a weird like one-handed fight, and then he pulls the other one. He starts like they kind of have the glowing force arm going, but it's also like reaching out, almost like it's like there's like whip kind of saber move going on. That was
Well,
so freaking cool.
I really liked his backstory about him
Yeah.
being like, well, just like kind of like the High Republic stuff. Like he was like one of their duelists. Like that's awesome. I love that because that's back when the Jedi were at like the height of their power, and him being a knight was like a big deal. Um, was him and that other scientist Jedi like? Was there something there? Because
Yeah, I
they're,
think so.
they're Jedi. They can't. It's not allowed.
yeah, well, okay, that hasn't
I
stopped a
think,
lot of
but in
them.
the High Republic, the expanded universe or whatever they're doing now, I think they kind of loose with that rule.
True.
Which I never understood. I mean, I know it's hard for normal people to figure out attachment and why the Jedi don't believe in attachment, but I think it always backfires whenever. I mean, this game shows how bad attachment is. So I've never understood why people have a problem with that. But it's Dagan Gera.
Mm.
For some reason, his fights were like the easiest for me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I didn't have too much trouble with him.
That first one was pretty easy.
Yeah.
Where he like comes out of the chamber, which was a cool reveal too, though, when he
Very
like
cool.
corrupted his kyber crystal to where it turned orange. I'm like, that's pretty cool. I'm like, oh crap, I have to fight this guy now.
His for some reason his found like he was the least cheap out of all the bosses. Like his moves were I could because I don't really parry on these games.
Interesting.
Yeah, I do more of the dodge and kind of the jump. I kind of jump away and then like go, and it's the same with Dark Souls too. I don't really parry. I just kind of jump back and then hit, and that's just how I learned to like play these games. So
Did you do the
It's
like
Piccolo this thing, huh?
precision dodging ever?
yeah,
Okay.
where it does a little slow motion.
Yeah.
And that's cool animation. I gotta
Yeah.
say, some of those animations where they like swing and he like dodges real fast. But yeah, so I don't really rely on the pairing because it gets me in trouble every time. And especially for this next boss fight, which this is the one where I kind of messaged like, oh, this game lost a point for me, and that's the Darth Vader fight. So I told you guys going in that I hope Darth Vader wasn't in this game, and he was in this game. And the way they do it makes sense, but I still don't like it because you're not even your character when you face him. You're this other character. So you don't have all the powers and all the stuff that you've been gathering this whole time. You're just this different Jedi who's got to fight him. And the cheapness, I mean, when I talk about cheapness, it's like I clearly can dodge something, but the game will like auto lock and just like drag me to him just so it can hit me. And that drives me nuts. I hate that. And Darth Vader, he does something like that, and it drove me nuts. I have to admit, I was so mad at this because they put him in the game, which I didn't want, and that he was kind of cheap. So I'm ashamed to say I actually turned down the difficulty for this fight because I was in a bad mood when this happened. So I was like, I can't do this on Master. I'm gonna have to go down the knife for this one. But what do you guys think of this Darth Vader fight?
I don't blame you in the slightest for turning it down. There's the Rancor, there's the frog things, and there's the Darth Vader fight. And there's so much BS about this fight.
Mhm.
Oh my god! It was literally a point. It was 11:45, I think, at night, and I was like, all right, we'll do one more thing. Of course, it ends
Go to
up
bed,
being,
Michael. Go to
ends up
bed.
being this mission. I was like, crap. So I had to finish this mission to get through the whole thing, and like I had to do that fight on normal, the default difficulty, probably 10, 15 times. Like, no joke.
Same.
I was so mad because it's just like he has that one hit move where you just die, and it's
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna
Or he force chokes you, which I was like, well, I can't dodge that. I can't dodge this.
Mind. I was so mad because it is the God of War Valkyrie stuff. It's these people who copy Dark Souls but don't have the frame rate or the timing right of Dark Souls. And I mean, there's some Dark Souls bosses, of course, that have this issue, but like this issue is like expounded in these games. And oh my god, I was mad going into the fight. Though
I will say that though, for every Dark Soul bullcrap that they like in Dark Souls, there is always an exploit that you can do
yeah,
to counter it.
yeah, this is just like auto, like you're getting
Yeah.
hit. Good luck.
There's
have fun.
there's no way, to do that in these.
Yeah, going into this fight though, I was with you because I was with you, Joseph. I was like, I don't want them to bring him in here. I don't want it to be some like
Mhm.
cliche. Oh, Darth Vader's here to have a moment again, and it kind of it did change on me because I felt like after that scene after that moment happened, I felt like it was a good closure to her story in a sense of like her having to be able her facing him again and this kind of like she's the one that ran and she was afraid of the force and all the junk and like wasn't a Jedi. No, she came back. She's like, I'm gonna actually face you now as a Jedi again. And I came to terms with it. So I did actually like it. I felt like I was like, okay, I understand where they're coming from and why they did this. It's not like name grabby to me and like they're not, oh, we're putting Darth Vader in it again. Like I didn't feel like that to me. So I accepted it at the end, but I do see your point of like, don't do it again. But
It just
the
it was
fight was
so
BS.
it was so powerful in the first game because
Yeah.
he at the end he comes in and he's this presence and Cal doesn't even stand a chance
Yeah.
against him and they did a real good job of just showing what the power of Darth Vader could be. Kind of like in Rogue One, the end of that one where he shows up at the in the corridor and
Yeah.
just like takes out all the rebels. So that's why I was disappointed that he was in it. There's cool stuff about the fight with Vader. Like he looks really cool with the fire and stuff like that. And like when you hit him, he's got like the lightsaber scars on
Yeah,
it.
that
It's
was really
kind of
cool.
cool. But it cheapens his character a little, I think, because I don't believe that Seer would have stood a chance even with her new force abilities against Vader. And he does the wheezing thing, whenever you hit Vader. That was a big problem of mine in Obi-Wan too, the show, is that when they do the wheezing thing. I mean, that was cool in Return of the Jedi when he
Yeah.
did the wheezing thing, but when they do it all the time, it cheapens him. So that's my big problem with Vader, and they kind of lost the point of the game.
I knew when you said that, I was like, oh, he got to that point in the game. It's like I knew right where you were.
So for me, this is okay. So Jeddah is probably like my favorite planet on here, just like story wise. Like we had the amazing set piece of
yeah.
Mirren
God.
and Cal. That was in
Talk about your jaw dropping to the floor, dude.
Yeah.
right. That was one of the coolest fight, and I know it was very like, what do you call it? Linear and like almost quick timey sort of.
Yeah.
It was
But
astonishing.
but
Yeah.
it looked so good.
Yeah.
And I was so like on that high of like, yeah, I did it. Oh my god, I almost died.
Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't like a level where you'd have to redo over and over. Because
Yeah.
if you're on your game, you go through it because it really needs that energy of just going through it fast.
Of the flow, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I loved that set piece and the actual turn of Bode, and the fact that I thought Cal was actually dead for this. I was like, wow, are they really gonna do this? Like, okay. Because it says like respawn and you
That
you
was
respawn
that
as,
was
as,
very
yeah.
interesting.
as Seer. I was like, oh crap.
What
Did
just happened?
Cal just die? And I do like that we see Seer as like powerful now because she's reconnected with the Force. She's she's who she's supposed to be. And I enjoyed it because it was a good closeout for Seer that she died standing up instead of being a coward, like in the first game. Even though I know Darth Vader is arguably like the most recognizable villain of all time, and them just kind of throwing it in there, it's like, oh, Darth Vader, Darth Vader. But still, the fear was still there though, because I was like, there's no way I'm gonna beat this guy. I'm so screwed. And even that moment of like she goes in for the flying kill or whatever, like, yeah, oh, she's dead. Crap. Well, yeah, that makes sense. But I don't know. For me, I really enjoyed that section of the game just because of the pacing of it, the flow of it, and just I really enjoyed that area of the game.
It was cool how you see like an Imperial invasion happening.
Yeah, that was
desperate.
kind of terrifying. Yeah.
I do like going. Just a quick thing. I do like the line. I think it's the main boss who says it when he's talking about the Imperials. He's like, "These guys are so stupid. How did the Jedi lose to them?"
I like that.
And it's just like because they have numbers. They're just crazy. They have this crazy number in organization. Okay, so let's get to the last boss, which is Bode, Jetpack Man, as I call him. In this one, it was easier than Vader, but it's still the cheapness kind of ruins it because like there's one point where he's like stabbing the ground and I'm here like whacking his back because his back's wide open
his
and it's
freaking
like not doing any damage.
his air attack on the second level down, where he does like the wide swings or whatever. No matter where I jumped, dodged or whatever, it seemed to just auto track on me. I'm just
Yeah.
like, stop it. So
Because it makes sense that he's going fast, but when you're turning, it doesn't make sense that he turns with you.
right, exactly.
It just that ruins kind of stuff.
I will say as well though, his fight was easier than Vader's.
Yeah.
The Vader fight was probably the most I've spent on the boss in this game.
Yeah, I turned it back to Jedi. I mean, I was on Jedi Master, and I didn't have to turn it down for Bode. So,
Yeah.
Michael, what did you think of the last fight?
I didn't actually have. I don't remember having a problem. The only reason I failed this fight once was because of the choose the dark side, and I didn't do it, and so I died, which I think is a little silly. They should have just sat on the screen until you pressed it, because I was like, I don't know if I need to. I don't know if this is a choice, like a hidden prompt or a hidden choice in the game. But I really
know.
I loved the scenes where they flowed between you and would you call her Marin?
Yeah,
Yeah, I like whenever you
Dude,
like dual attack and everything. Or
the dual system, or sorry, not the dual, the partner system.
yeah.
For this
Yeah.
was really
It was-
good.
I
like
really enjoyed like the transitions whenever you jump off and like she teleports you back and you tackle him and they go down. I really enjoyed that.
But especially in Jeddah too, that like going back to Jeddah,
Yeah.
where she's partnered with you like the whole way. That's the combat in there is so
Mhm.
good. Like just going through like the Imperials and stuff, especially the flamethrower guys, are the ones that piss me off the most.
They are annoying.
But just having her like take them out from the back, I'm like, oh my god, this helps so much.
and the Scorpion, she helps a lot with the Scorpion.
Oh my
Oh,
god,
yeah.
I forgot.
Oh,
the
true.
Scorpions.
We also have to mention the long-legged things you run on Jeddah because
Oh,
they're
yeah.
freaking amazing. And you're especially when you I was like I can sprint and they start going do. I was like oh my god.
Onward,
There's
no
families.
steed.
Those things were great.
Oh, but speaking of the Scorpions, like sometimes she's like, "No, you got this," and she like
Yeah.
leaves you, and he's like, "Hey, wait!"
This one's yours, the
Oh, for
legendary
the
like
golden
golden
one?
one. Yeah.
Yeah. He's
I
"You
did
got
like
this."
the riding mechanic in this, like the big bird things that you ride, and
Yeah.
I
That
think
was
they did a little bit of that in the first one.
okay. It's fun to do it, like to glide and stuff. But I swear, I threw myself off a cliff like 4 or 5 times
Oh, with the little
Like,
pterodactyls.
because I was like, all right, cool, let's
Oh,
go.
yeah.
I'm
I
like,
got you.
Miss.
Ah!
Yeah, I was just straight up like missed them. I'm just like crap.
Oh,
All right, let's talk about some of the extras that I think this really makes the game stand out. Is that so much? There's so much to do in this game. So what was kind of your favorite side quest in this game?
oh, easily the bounty hunters for me. The
Bounty
were
hunters,
on- yeah.
that was
Yeah.
great.
It was
I
very,
really
very
loved
cool. And I
playing
like
that
I like the because like you first go and talk to that bounty hunter lady in the place she won't talk to. She's just
Yeah,
just ignores you. I was like, okay, whatever, bye. And then I came back. I was like, oh, you're talking to me now. We're cool then, whatever. And then for the platinum, I had to go and
I'm
kill everyone.
oddly attracted to you for some
They
reason.
strangely reminded me of a
Seductress.
guy.
Hello.
I
But
love bounties. In
I dig the
games.
color green.
I wish they would do a bounty hunter game for
Dude,
Star Wars.
They needed
man.
like the one on GameCube was so good for the
Yeah.
time. Oh my gosh, it was so fun. I remember playing that with Jared, and he had the turbo controller, so it was just beep, 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 like the pistol would go like 3 times as fast, and we're like everything dies.
But I remember playing that with Jared as well.
Yeah, like,
I mean, they have the
it was so good.
Mandalorian, a character
I
that
know, they
everyone
need
liked
to.
before the 3rd season, but
Well, and
where's that game?
the fact
True.
that Boba Fett felt like a threat in this one
Oh yeah.
was kind of cool.
That was cool. How he's like,
Like-
don't mess with me, Jedi.
Well, I like the Mexican standoff that they had. He's just like,
well, my issue with that is I killed that chick by she was on the edge of the platform we were fighting on. The grenade blows up and she fell off the cliff, and that's how she died. So half the cutscene, she's not there.
She's not there.
just invisible. It like glitched out, and so finally at the very end, it finally pops in, and she finally has her guns out. I was like, "Oh, there you are! Welcome to the fight."
You're like,
Also,
dude,
like-
she's dead.
well, I do like, it's like, Boba, how are you?
Oh,
I like
Australia
all
there.
Yeah, I like so I'm trying to get like 100% on all the planets.
Dude,
and I have them all.
Kobo's freaking hard. I'm at 89.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't know where else to go.
I'm doing Kobo and I'm doing Jedi. Jedi is just because I can't figure out how to open doors. There's like 3 doors that I can't figure out how to open. Have you guys done the crypt one?
Yeah.
You figured out how to open that? I can't figure out how to open. Is there a clue that you do? Or
I just look up Let's Plays because there's so much in this game.
I'm trying not to look stuff up.
Even some of like the what do you call it? The material, the purple material that you use to burn things away. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I was like the purple material.
BD's
gotcha.
Shoot or whatever.
The goop.
Yeah, there's like this one Jedi temple or Jedi trial. I'm just like, I don't know where to connect this purple crap.
I've been here. The waterfall.
Yes.
Yeah, I did that one.
Like I was like, I've been here for 25 minutes. This is supposed to be a side quest. I don't have time for this. So I'm like, how? Oh,
I was like,
I'm
there's
supposed
a
to run
bridge here
across.
For some...
Yeah, exactly.
There's a bridge for some reason.
My issue with that one was I made the bridge, then I tried to put the goopy stuff on, and it wouldn't go on for me at first. I was like, and so I guess it was a glitch. So then I started
that's
from the
how
beginning.
I did it.
Yeah, I started from the beginning, and I lit it on fire, and I kept carrying it with the fire as I was going, and then it let me take it across the bridge. So I don't know if you couldn't do it when it wasn't on fire. I have no idea. So I was in there for quite a minute, and then I finally I was like, now you're gonna let me take it across?
Yeah, that's the one.
Go through like everything. Like there's this little crevice in the behind. I was like, oh, I thought maybe if I go like around it, but you can't do it. You can't shoot BD's thing when you're like balancing on a balance beam. So it's like,
that's the one that I probably wasted the most time on, just like as a side, like not as a tier or anything else like that, but just like one of those hidden areas. Almost like I don't know,
and it's so stupid because it's like right.
Yeah, exactly. You feel like an idiot. You're like, duh.
That is one thing I think should be said about this game is it's like even some of the mainline story traversal is not easy or very obvious. There's some of it I'm like, wow, this is very like embedded in the environment.
There's times I'd have to like stay for like 15 minutes just like looking for the way to go next.
Yeah, it wasn't a glowing arrow this way.
What's the one where it's the Imperial base one? What's that one called? It's where you dress up as like the
Nova something.
Yeah. Okay, that first like 5 minutes of like going in there, I was like, I have no idea where to go. And then it's also right after Jeddah, and so I wasn't used to the phasing through shields. And so I like ran up to a shield and I'm like, I don't know where to go. And I kept like going around and I found like treasures. It's like, well, this isn't the main path. Where am I supposed to go? So I looked up like a Let's Play. I'm like, oh, I can phase. Crap. I was just supposed to go straight through it.
There was this one on the base, the old droid command ship. There's this one where you're doing I couldn't like figure out where to go, and there was this like yellow light, so I thought it was a force field. So I didn't try jumping through it because I thought I couldn't. And then after like a long time, I was like, "Oh, I can just go through that light. It's not a force field.
It's not stopping me."
Dang it. Oh man, you really do got to look at the map sometimes to figure out where to go.
That is one of the things they did not improve in the game is the map. Like, I mean, it's there and it's serviceable. It does its job, but like, if you want to try and focus on a point, they have it to where you zoom into center Z0, X0, Y0. Not the part where your pinpoint is. It's just like the map zooms in here. I'm like, no, I want to look at this hallway over here. Come back hallway. It's like, let me
well, especially when you do
properly.
The y-axis part.
Yeah,
you're
it's
just
so
like,
bad.
And we're going.
We're going. I'm just like, let me look at what I want to look at.
Well, especially when you're trying to fast travel, you're like, okay, I need to go here, but it won't let you target.
To get on that one pin.
Yeah, you're just like.
Yeah. Barely touch it. Careful.
Yeah. Well, because like the x-axis is so sensitive. I was like, oh, go to the right. Whee! So
I haven't opened that door on Jeddah, and I haven't opened those freaking doors in the main on Kobo in the main town.
Oh,
where
really?
There's where there's like a power thing.
Yeah.
I can't figure out how to shoot the power thing because it's all boarded up. So
I'm having an issue with mine on Kobo. Some of the the industrial part, like to the north, where it's all the machines and stuff. Since I completed the story part, some of the areas aren't accessible anymore. There's like these big barriers now, like these like barrels. I don't know if it's a glitch or what, but there's like a lot of collectibles on the other side that I can't get to. Yes,
You finish before I continue.
no, that's it. Go for it.
I was gonna input my story that I teased in our
Oh
in the
yeah, I forgot
chat
about
for my platinum, because you guys are bringing up all of the issues that I had. So I had this was a night where it was coming down to, it's just 9:30. I was like, I have one trophy left for this platinum. It was a Tuesday. I'm like, Zelda comes out Friday. This is perfect timing. So the last trophy I need is, it's a hidden trophy, but I don't know why it's hidden. It's not a spoiler. You have to buy everything in Doma's shop on Koba. So you have to go and get all the Priorite shards in all of the map to buy all of her stuff, and that's the last trophy I needed. And so there are 100 of these freaking collectibles in the whole entire game. And I cleared out all. And so on Koba, there's Priorite shards, and there's data disk or data banks,
Yeah.
whatever the heck it's called. Data shards, I think. And so there's areas in the game where, there's data shards. Okay, so there's probably no Priorite shards here. I'll go check the rest of the map, whatever. Got all the Priorite shards like found. I was like, fine. Okay, I'll go try this area where all the data shards are. I'm like, I think I needed 2 more at this point. So I found a couple of those, whatever. There was actually 1 Priorite shard in the area with the ground. You had to have the ball or the light to walk through, because all the bugs would eat you, whatever the heck it was. So I needed 1 left. I was like, what the heck is going on? I'm scouring, like I have the map unlocked so I can see all of the collectibles on the map. I go level by level, area by area. It's like, treasures found in this area. 1 of 1, 2 of 2, 3 of 3. I'm like, I have all the flipping treasures in this game. I was like, what the heck's going on? So finally I was like, all right, I'm succumbing. I'm going to the internet. Get online. I'm like, what is going on with this last freaking Priorite shard? Everyone's like, oh, everyone's having issues with this. It's on Coruscant. There are 5 on Coruscant. It's like, oh, that's fantastic. So I go to Coruscant, get on there. I look at that. It's like treasures, 1 of 1, 2 of 2, 3 of 3. I'm like, God dang. Or that math doesn't math 6. 1 of 1, 1 of 1, 3 of 3. There we go. And I was like, dang it, crap. It's like, I'm missing this one. And I was like, okay, back to the internet. Scour back on. I'm still missing. I have all the Coruscant ones. I'm getting on Reddit. They're like, oh, don't worry about it. Nova Garo, whatever. There's 1 on there. I was like, oh, good lord. We're getting late now. It's like 10:30. I'm like, crap. I don't want to be up. I want to go to bed for the first time and like since I got this game at a good time. I'm like, I get to Nova Garo and I look at the things like treasures, 1 of 1, 1 of 1, 2 of 2. I'm like, God dang it. Like, what am I missing? So I get online. There's literally, mind you, the last trophy I need, the last item I need to get that trophy to have the platinum to pop it to go to bed. Getting like 11:30 now, and I'm just redoing just all these hints. People are like, oh, maybe it's here, maybe you're missing this one, and then I get to a Reddit page and it's like, they're like, it's glitched. They're like, the probe droids that you find that run away from you, the little red ones.
Yeah.
They're like, there's one you hit and you won't get the Priorite shard for it. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I was like, is this like, I have to wait for this to get patched? Do I have to do something? So I was really bummed out. I was like, I'm gonna check a few more places first. So I'm going around. I was like, okay, that's that. I went over the whole map again, making sure it was treasures, 1 of 1, 2 of 2, make sure it wasn't glitched and just wasn't showing up. So then I get back on Reddit and I look at that thing and I scroll down just a couple things. There's this freaking saint that just puts in, did anyone check this area? And then I was like, of course I did. It's on Koba. Why wouldn't I have checked it? I've looked at every area, and I wasn't gonna look at it. I was like, whatever. I'm just going to bed. I'm done. All the comments are below. You're a freaking legend. Oh my god, my hero. Holy cow. What the heck? There's a place on Koba. Doesn't show up on the main map unless you fast travel to it. That's the only way you can see the map. And there's 1 Priorite shard in there. For some reason, it's like the front something. I have to look it up, but. So if anyone is missing that trophy that hears this, or missing that 1 Priorite shard, look up. There's a fast travel place. It's Fort something.
Oh, okay.
And
where the droids are.
Yeah, it's in that area, which the map doesn't show on the freaking main map, or it's like hidden somewhere. Like I literally scoured that map for an hour and a half, literally. So at 11:52, I go get this Priorite shard and platinum the game before I can go to bed because of this stupid thing. But whoever that blessed guy was, because Reddit has all the weird names. Like everyone was just singing his praises in the comments. It was the funniest thing ever. I was like, I signed in on an account just to thank him for it because like I have to. That was like I was like, I have to wait for a freaking patch. I'm not gonna get this trophy. Like this is like not getting a platinum when you're that close is a freaking nightmare. And so it was quite a roller coaster ride for sure. But we have it. I'm happy.
Fun. Yeah. Dang. Okay. I gotta finish it. I I still got Kobo. I still got that one place in Jeddah. I might have to look up that crypt because I can't figure out that stupid crypt. Okay. Yeah, man. There's so much to this game. The cosmetics. Did you guys
Oh my
like the
gosh.
cosmetics?
I
They're great.
love the cosmetics in this. I liked it because I kind of went like through phases of
Yeah.
Cal. Like I'm gonna be emo Cal. He's got like the sweepy hair. It's like I'm gonna do like solid Snake Cal. He's got like the bandana and everything else. And then I just kind of like Cal has matured, so I put a goatee on him and looks
Yeah.
pretty cool. And I just like wow.
My
I think
Cal's like facial, just he got a full beard and then he got long hair. It's just,
yeah.
now he's a Jedi.
But it is kind of funny is that it seems like we like put Cal through an arc specifically based on his looks through this game, and I was like, that's kind of cool. Because
Yeah.
first I was wearing like the Jedi robes, like yeah, now Cal's Jedi. Then I'm like, well, maybe I'm a smuggler, so I put like the chaps on and like the bomber jacket, and then it's kind of like mellowed him out a little bit. He was a bit more, you how do you say it? Something utilitarian. I can't pronounce it. Anyway,
Utilitarian?
thank you. But I don't know. I was actually kind of happy with the way that my Jedi looked at the end of this. So
Yeah, that was a very fun aspect of this game was because I would like try things and then I was like what I got back to because I had that you get the Doma shop and I bought the long hair and I was like because a sequel to every Jedi they always have long hair. Obi-Wan got
Mhm.
long hair, Anakin got long hair, everyone gets long
Yeah.
hair. So I got stuck with the long hair and like I can't go away. So I had seen that Cal so much and then I got the Wanderer's cloak and then I had I forget which pants I had, and so I just wanted to get different colors of those. So I finally got those, and how do I get? I'd try a few clothes, but I'd always bounce back to these. And so finally, I was like, guys, I want to see your characters. I want to see who you are and everything. And so you guys come in with these different. I'm like, that's so weird. That's not my Cal at all. It just looks bizarre, but I loved it because it's like, oh, you guys are doing your whole different adventures. It was so satisfying. And there is, Thomas, you'll love this. There's a trophy that if you wear the headband and go to Jeddah and then fight the dummy outside of the ship, you get Cobra Cal trophy.
yeah, I got that Cobra
I was like-
Cal. Yeah,
I was
got
like, that
one.
is hilarious.
Oh man, yeah. So let's do our final thoughts. I don't know if you guys want to do ratings or whatever, but what you think of this game, Michael, overall?
Goodness. I mean, there's just something satisfying about this. They improved so much, and the excitement, like, that was the big thing with the first one. Everyone laughed at the ponchos. There was a big joke about the ponchos because it's like, oh, you open another box, what is it going to be? A turquoise poncho. How exciting. And, like, the excitement of not knowing what's coming. Like, I don't know if you guys saw, there's, like, a samurai bun hairdo. That's
Yeah, I got
so
that
cool.
I got that one.
Yeah.
There's so many different. There's the weird mullet. There's the mustache, the goatee. Like there's so many different outfits that I was so excited to get to the chest in this one. So that was a
Mullet
extremely-
Cal is apparently a thing now on the internet.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
Well,
sure.
what's that one? The essentially like the America one where he's got like
Yeah,
the pistol,
it's just
the mullet,
I'm
and the
here.
porn stash. He's like, yeah,
America.
America.
So not only that, but like that was such a satisfying point of exploring through this game and like the worlds I feel like were really so interesting. Like I am with Thomas. I probably like Jeddah the most just because like the atmosphere and the tone is just very Star Warsy. And then
Yeah.
and then the smaller worlds I really liked like that Imperial base or whatever the heck it was, the base one. I loved going through those just classic hallways from like A New Hope, and you're like, yes.
I think one of the best parts of this is that I like Star Wars is great. I love Star Wars. The thing is though is that they only seem to like go back to the same like three planets like
Mhm.
Coruscant,
Yeah.
Tatooine, and Kashyyyk. And I love that they actually had these other planets that were kind of familiar, but just different.
Yeah.
Like Jeddah's amazing, Kobo amazing. We got to see Coruscant in the beginning, but it wasn't the focus. It was just
Yeah.
like, oh, this is where like the main Star Wars story is happening is on Coruscant, but we're not part of that. We're a side story.
And you don't even have to
And-
go back.
You don't have to go back, and I liked that it created its own thing inside of the Star Wars, but was very very truthful to how it's supposed to feel and look. But especially like,
when you're like running through the separate the droid control
Yeah,
ship, it
yeah.
looks like episode 1.
like one,
Yeah.
yeah, it looked awesome. And then you go into like an Imperial base, and it looks like you're in episode 4. I really liked that. Um, and it just overall, the story I think was extremely satisfying. This is probably one of my favorite Star Wars games now. I KOTOR will always be my favorite because I think it has the best story. I still love the gameplay for KOTOR, even though it's super dated. I know.
Fun.
I'm a millennial. I'm going to be nostalgic no matter what. But this one just had so much heart. You could definitely tell people who worked on this really love Star Wars. And honestly, like with the crap that we've been getting lately from Star Wars, it's nice to see that. So
Yeah, this game kind of makes me sad because we could be getting games
I
like this the
know.
whole time, but we have not. We got like 2 crappy Battlefronts, and we
Oh,
got
God.
that X-Wing game that was fun for like a week, and then
Yeah.
there's no reason to play it. So it's just like, why haven't we had good Star Wars games?
I had the same feeling of playing this game as when I played Outcast, the Kyle Katarn ones. And I even
Mhm.
cosplayed as Kyle Katarn for a while. Just it was that same feeling of being in the Star Wars universe, but having your own separate story, and it was so much fun.
Mhm.
Yeah. These games get compared a lot to the Force Unleashed games, which I played, and I remember having fun. I just don't remember them too well. But yeah, for me, this game was fun. I give it an 8.7. Um, just because the Vader thing. The Vader thing made me angry. But yeah, this game is fun. It feels like I've always wanted a kind of a Jedi Zelda kind of mashup where it's just a big world and you get to have an adventure in it. And I think this gets as close to putting a Jedi in Zelda as you can. Um, Speaking of Zelda, Michael is into
I
Breath of the
am
Wild
currently
2.
playing Breath of the Wild 2. Yes.
Can you
I
give
am.
us some early, just a little hint of how it is?
Little hint. Nintendo needs to suck it up and change their controls, or allow me to change controls, because it's
Dude,
freaking
that
ridiculous, the button layout. It's
that
ridiculous.
that string in the chat went on
I know.
forever.
Dude,
I was at work. I'm like, are they still talking about the controls?
it's I had forgotten. I played Breath of the Wild. I'm a very much, I think Breath of the Wild's a great game, but it is one of the most overrated games of all time, in my opinion. Easy. Like, people act like it's a second coming of Christ, and I'm like,
It's true.
it's
People love that
great,
game.
but so far, so I've beaten the first temple. I can already say they are a vast improvement on the freaking divine beasts that were so repetitive and boring to me. The story is very, very great so far. Horse riding sucks. I forgot how bad it is in these games. Like, going from like being able to ride, on Jedi Survivor freely around the world as you wish. This is like tank control horse stuff that they don't want to run ever. They're just trying to try. I'm like, I could literally walk faster than this. Um, and I do feel like I'll be interested to see what everyone feels like whenever we get to the end of when we do discuss this fully. Because I'm like, I feel like it's time for Zelda to have an evolution in combat, because they've added all of these mechanics and these abilities, and everything, that it's almost like a turn-based game in a sense. Like, you have the degradation of weapons, you have the abilities, the rewind time stuff they have in this, the ascend, the drop, all the weird junk you can do. And so it's like you're flipping through menus all the time while fighting this game. Oh, I want to attach this to my thing, so I got to go slide through the menu to this. Oh, I want to do this to the sword. I'm gonna rewind time of that thing so it comes and slaps that guy. It's like it's clunky. And I was watching a video today of just the history of all the Zelda games, which there are a lot of Zelda games out there.
Yeah.
Like, I was kind of blown away. I was like, I've never actually heard of that one. But and Twilight Princess came up, and it showed Link like fight. He threw the boomerang. It was very fluid, and I was like, wow, that's an old game, and it looks more fluid than Breath of the Wild to me, which is very strange. Or Tears of the Kingdom, I should say.
I have not beaten a Zelda game since Ocarina of Time.
That's the one to beat if you're going to beat one, in my opinion. But
And honestly, I have not really played a game, or played a game. I haven't played a game at all. I have not played a Zelda game probably since then. Like, I have.
Sad, man. You missed out on Wind Waker.
Wind Waker's
I didn't. Oh,
Twilight
okay,
Princess is so good.
The thing is, I didn't have a Nintendo system from an N64 until like I got my Switch, and I missed out on a lot of stuff. I feel like I missed out on like a Star Fox and everything else. Like, I missed out on most of Smash. Like, I didn't start playing Smash until like you and Jared were roommates when I was in my 20s. Like, I I just had that gap. I didn't play Brawl. I didn't play Melee. And so I don't know.
Just more a Nintendo boy.
All right.
I wasn't.
But yeah,
That is-
so quickly, it was a very
Okay.
it's very fun so far though. Great characters. We have had giggle fest about the ridiculous stuff you can do with the new mechanics. We'll leave that for that, but it's very, very, very silly.
I saw a video of someone creating something that was rather funny.
Was that Alex's log thing or someone else? I thought you were talking about Alex's thing. Never mind.
No, not ours, but just somebody
Gotcha,
like
gotcha.
random person. I'm just like, I didn't know you could do that in this
Yeah.
game. That's
It's
kind of
very- It's
hilarious.
very good so far.
Okay. Well, that's going to do it for us this time. Like, subscribe, and notify so you can keep up with all that good stuff that's coming. And remember to pour one out for Rick the door technician.
Oh, I forgot about Rick.
Golden man.
talk about getting your heart rate up too. I was like, oh god, another boss. I don't have any
Come
help.
for me.
That was such a good. I wonder how many people he's actually killed. Like if someone's weak enough and they die to him. 'Cause
I
it's
only
like
had, like,
right after
this
that
much
big
health
bowl. I did.
left.
I was in the same position. I had no stims and I was like crud. And it was like I was like a health bar. Who is around? This guy's like, oh.
What does he do? Does he have a stun baton?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
has
he
a
just had a
stun
stun
baton.
baton.
I
He's
killed
not
him
gonna
so fast. I was like, there was a boss here. I was like, what the heck? I think I was just like randomly shooting or something.
You just chunk him out a window.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.